Well, hello there, and welcome to the Power of Your Mind podcast. It's Victoria Gallagher here. Today's episode is going to be a little bit different than I had originally planned. My guest wasn't able to make it at the last minute, but rather than skip an episode, I decided that I want to share something very personal, and I also want to share something very valuable with you, something that I've been thinking about a lot lately. So, welcome. Just a little bit of an intro here about the podcast. Every week, I am here to inspire you to tap into the incredible power of your mind by helping you to understand the law of attraction, manifestation, affirmations, hypnosis, meditation, and all kinds of empowering tools that are designed to rewire your mindset and propel you toward success. So, you are listening to episode number 374, the mindset shifts that scale your income. But before we dive in, be sure to subscribe to the Power of Your Mind podcast on your favorite platform so that you never miss an episode. And if you are enjoying the show, please leave a review, share it with someone who could use a little inspiration, or download my Believe Hypnosis app, which is packed with over 1,000 sessions on affirmations, meditations, hypnosis sessions, all designed to help you to manifest your dreams and your goals. And if you're new to the show, or new to me, I'm again Victoria Gallagher. I'm a best-selling author of Practical Law of Attraction and several other books. I've been a hypnotherapist for the past 25 years. I'm also a digital creator, inspirational speaker, entrepreneur, and I specialize in helping business professionals manifest success using practical mindset strategies and the law of attraction. Now, once again, before we totally dive into today's episode, I really just want to take a moment to share personally some of the things that have been going on behind the scenes. It's been a really, really heavy time for me personally. I have been processing a lot, starting with the loss of my sweet velvet. Everyone probably knows how special that little man was, and he's been gone for about a month now, but he's now not really gone, right? Um, at the same time, I've also been dealing with supporting my mom as she prepares to make her transition. And I've also been dealing with my own surgery that was suddenly postponed a few weeks ago. I'm getting ready to have hip replacement surgery. And, it's like probably not that big of a deal, but, just going into anesthesia, going into a surgical situation, it's a little unnerving, right? And so that is now rescheduled for this Friday. And I'm recording this on Tuesday, March 25th. So I'll be having surgery March 28th. This show will already have aired. I will already have had a successful surgery, and I will be in recovery mode. So it's just been a lot to deal with. And yet at the same time, whenever I think about how much I am dealing with, I think about, kind of fast forward to the future, and I think about when this is all really behind me. It's just a lot right now to hold, and it has definitely had an impact on my energy, my creativity, my daily routine. But I've been working through it in the best possible way. I am super grateful for my life, for the rest of my health, for a wonderful husband, for this beautiful house. And, I just have been working through it in my own way and, just really, you know, walking my talk or talking my walk, and using my own tools, continuing to meditate, continuing to use my Believe app, giving myself permission to feel, giving myself permission to reset. And one of the most grounding things that I just recently did was I just rearranged my office. And if you've been watching the video version, you might notice a little bit of a different angle. I'm now filming from the back of the room where the windows used to face me. Now they're to the side and to the back of me. And that change came after I revisited some of the advice from one of my well-known guests that was on the show, Marie Diamond, who's a feng shui expert. And she had given me a few tips that I hadn't implemented for a while until just now. And I really do feel this shift. Like I said, I used to sit with the door to my side, kind of in back of me. And that's a big no-no. Not only that, but this side of the room happens to be the wealth corner. So I put this wealth tree in there, put my Believe up there, and I'm literally sitting to you from my wealth corner. So good things are about to transpire, I am sure. And I just also just feel the energy. It just feels really good. And so. Uh, you know, these things are, kind of just the fun things that I've been doing. We have made a few small improvements to the Believe app. The playlist, it works immaculately now. If it doesn't work for you well, then please always feel free to reach out to me. I'm always open to hearing your tips and ideas for improving the app. We've finally kind of got it to a stable place after a year in development, and after I return from surgery and I'm all recovered, we are going to start to break ground on the affiliate program and a few other features. So, anyway, if you have been going through something, I just want you to know you are definitely not alone. So just give yourself that space to shift. And now let's just get into the episode. So today we're going to talk about the mindset evolution that is required to start and grow your own business. This is something that I've really wanted to help a lot of people with, because at the end of the day, with everything that I have been going through, at least I am not in some kind of a situation where I have to go to work and present myself to an employer. I've been self-employed gratefully for the last 25, 26 years. It can be a little bit of a roller coaster. It's not always 100% perfect, especially over the last couple of years of developing the app. I definitely did take a little bit of a back seat financially because, developing the app was a lot more expensive than I had anticipated. And, so all that to say, though, at least I have been in a good position to just be able to take care of myself whenever these things arise. It's like whenever I want to go on vacation or take a trip with my husband or take a trip out of town to do something or just get out of the house and walk around or spend the day in bed. If I'm not feeling good, I don't have to have a boss to answer to. So if this is something you've been thinking about, this is definitely the show for you to listen to. And no matter where you are, whether you haven't made your first dollar or you're trying to break through to six figures a month or seven figures a year, this is definitely an episode just to help you to tap into what is the mindset that is needed in order for you to start your own business. Because the truth is, the mindset is really what you need in order to make, money and to create and to do whatever it is. And I will say, with I typically like to help people with the digital side of business because I've never really been one, except for when I was selling CDs. I've never really been one to create a business where I had to like leave my house or create something physical, except for just the simple things, physical books, physical CDs. I've even considered like maybe physical things like shirts and printables and things like that. I haven't quite gotten into that space yet, but just something really simple. I just like to keep it really simple. And but anyway, the truth is that the mindset that helps you make your very first dollar is going to be completely different from the mindset that helps you to hit a $10,000 month, or even a $5,000 month. If you're just getting started, some people are just aiming for that. Some people are just aiming for a couple of $1,000s a month that they can use to supplement their income. And then maybe they have something to think about, as far as maybe when they're ready to quit their day job and they can turn that into a more meaningful income. But every income level demands a different version of yourself, right? And so if you're stuck, it's usually because your thinking is still operating at a lower level. It's operating at a version of yourself that is, identified. It's your identify. Are you identified as an employee or are you identified as an entrepreneur? And so it's an identity shift every step of the way. So today I just want to really walk you through the key mindset shifts that are required at each income milestone from your very first dollar all the way to making consistent six-figure months and beyond. So your first dollar, let's just tap right into that. The first dollar is going to require you just to have a belief that it's possible for you to make your own money that is not, from an employer, but from something that you create. This is where it all begins. You're not looking for necessarily a business yet. You're looking for proof. Can I create something and exchange that time, energy, or thing for someone to pay me, somebody to pay me for my skill, somebody to pay me for my idea, somebody to pay me for my product. And that mindset here, a lot of that is all about just even overcoming the imposter syndrome and being able to take imperfect action. You're in a stop hiding and just ask mode. You're learning to charge something for your time. And even if it's just a small amount. So the belief here is, and just write these beliefs down. And as we're going through this, maybe if something resonates with you and you're watching this on YouTube, just write in the comment the belief. I get paid to do what I do. I get paid to do what I do. And this is a proof of concept belief. You're just mostly proving to yourself that I can get paid to do something that I love. And the Believe app would be so beneficial for you right at this level because there's so many different sessions in the Believe app, that will talk about just starting to develop that entrepreneurial mindset, start your own business, get paid to do what you do, creativity. Um, there's just overcoming the imposter syndrome, confidence. There's so many different sessions in the app that would help you with that. Now, the next level, let's move up to, so you've made your first dollar. Now let's just talk about your first $100. And again, this is really simple for those of you who already have your own business. Just hang with me, because we're going to talk about the higher levels. But now that you've made your first dollar, now you're just trying to figure out how can I make it happen again? And this stage is all about building confidence, trusting your voice, trusting your own intuition, and not quitting just because things might be slow in the very beginning. The mindset here is I'm on a roll. And this isn't just a fluke. Being able to, so you've already made your first dollar. How can we duplicate that? And you're starting for look at to look at like what worked there. How can I repeat that? And you're starting to maybe tune into your audience and your message just a little bit more deeply. All right, so the next step is your first $1,000. And this is where it's going to take a little bit more belief. Obviously, at every level, it's going to take a little bit more belief, a little bit more confidence, but you're also shifting your identity and who you are in this process. So that first thousand is really a turning point for a lot of people. This is where the excitement um, of having those first few sales can really pay off for you. And, this is really going to uh, be so different too, whether if it's a service, it's a lot easier to make $1,000. I mean, you can literally break it down into if you're a hypnotherapist or a coach. I mean, and depending on what you charge for your services, it literally could take three clients at first just to make your first $1,000. Three clients that give you $350 for 1 hour of your time or 1.5 hours of your time. Or maybe it's a package that you're selling. Maybe you're selling, it only is going to take one client, a 3 session package for $1,000. And again, it just depends on where you want to start out, what you want to charge. But it's a good starting point. If you're selling a thing, that is a whole different can of worms because that thing is going to require a lot more transactions, right? So if you're selling a $10 thing, you got to sell 100 of those in order to make your first $1,000. If you're selling a $100 thing, is going to take 10 transactions. So you can kind of do the math in between. Or it could be a funnel. It could be that you start off with the $10 thing, and the next thing that you sell is a $50 or $100 thing. And then that leads into a service-oriented thing or a course. So there's just different ways to look at it. So you want to really try to maximize the amount that you make per customer because ultimately the less customers you need, the easier it is going to be for you to make that very first $1,000. But the mindset here is this could actually work. You're no longer just testing the waters. You're seeing proof that people want what you have to offer. And now you're starting to think beyond those one-off sales. You begin to see the potential for the real income and the real freedom that that brings you. And for many of my clients, breaking through this level has felt like just trying to unlock a new dimension. And so that's why I created the session called Manifest $1,000 in 24 hours. Now, what this does is it helps you to really tap into your creativity, which lies in your subconscious mind, and not only that, in your super conscious mind. And it is one of the single most downloaded tracks in the Believe app because sometimes it's not about how long it takes to make the thousand. It's just about whether your mind is open to receiving the ideas and to even believe that it's possible. So once you break through that belief barrier, whether you do it gradually or it's just a sudden shift, you stop thinking like someone who's just earning extra cash. You start thinking like a business owner. You start thinking from the mindset, I'm building a business now, not just making money. There's a difference between making money and building a business. And this is where, like I said, you can begin creating more intentional offers. You can start to see how a $97 course, a $47 course, or a $297 session can lead to you creating real revenue, especially when you package it all the right way and you have a clear offer. You have a clear, tangible result. And that's the other thing you really want to think about is what is the result that you're hoping that people are going to achieve by working for you? What is the problem that you're solving, and what is your unique way of solving that problem? And then you begin to realize that your time is valuable, and you begin to raise your standards about pricing, about positioning. And you also begin to think a little bit more in terms of systems, even if they're basic systems. You might start to automate your scheduling. You might begin to start an email list. You might begin to experiment with a basic sales funnel. You might begin to start batching your content and start to create a lot of content, on a weekly basis, on a daily basis. And that's where you also might just start to track what's working and what's not working. And just as importantly, you also start to organize your mind. You stop second guessing every single move that you're making, and you start to build the habits and the routines and the structures around your business that is going to support your growth. So that first $1,000, it's not just about financial momentum, it's about your mental momentum, keeping your brain constantly focused on what is working, what you are doing, not what isn't happening, but what is happening. And once you flip that switch, then your next level becomes so much easier to reach. All right. So that's the mindset around $1,000 a month. Okay, so then at the next level is the $5,000 month. And this is where you shift into the identity of a professional. At this level, you're now a full-fledged business owner. But that mindset hurdle here is identity. Are you thinking like this is just a side hustle, or are you thinking like a CEO? Are you thinking big? Are you thinking long term? At this level, you need to set boundaries for yourself. This is so important. You have to have a consistent presence. You have to have a consistent structure in your business. And you have to start to let go of feeling like you have to do everything yourself. And at this level, you may have to stop charging hourly for your time, thinking of yourself in terms of like an hourly employee. You have to think more in terms of as a professional. What would a professional in this field do? This is where you want to maybe align yourself with a mentor, somebody who's already been through this before, somebody who's already done what you do. And then you also want to think in terms of your self-worth. Your self-worth begins to rise alongside the rates that you charge for things. All right, now let's get to the $10,000 month. And this is where a lot of people really feel like, you know what, if I could just make $10,000 a month, I'd have it made. Who here has thought that before? Go ahead and let me know in the comments if this is kind of a milestone for you. This is a milestone for a lot of my clients. And this is actually something I've been toying with the idea of creating a group coaching or a course around. So let me know if that's you in the comments. I've already interviewed quite a lot of people around this. topic. And so I'm just kind of feeling the ropes on figuring out what people need, what they want, what would make them happy, what their expectations are, that kind of thing. But here's a little bit about hitting your first $10,000 month. This is a major milestone for a lot of people. And if you've hit this already, you should be very proud of yourself because it's not something that everyone has been able to achieve. Everyone can do it, believe it or not. And I think that's something that you should know going into this. None of these milestones are impossible. They are possible for every single person. If one person can do it, then there's a way has already been carved for another person to do it. And so, but this is definitely one of the milestones that many entrepreneurs have on their vision board, in their journal. And it is a number that symbolizes I have made it. But getting there isn't about just doing more. In fact, in fact, it's actually about doing less, believe it or not. But you're doing it with more clarity. You're doing it with more intention. You're doing it with more purpose. You're doing it with more alignment. Alignment is just so key when it comes to manifesting all these different levels of income. At this level, you're likely, you've already launched some offers, you've already gotten some clients, you've already started to see some money come in, maybe at this level. And some people stay stuck between that, getting from that 5,000 to 10,000 range for years. And the reason why is because it requires such a different version of yourself, such a different mindset shift to get from making 1,000 a month, making a couple thousand a month, making 5,000 a month to making 10,000 a month. It is a different mindset shift. And there's like this little stigma around hitting, because that definitely means you're making six figures a year. You're making over $100,000 a year when you're making $10,000 a month. And so at this point, maybe you've been stuck for years, or maybe you've just been going along and you're still in your first year of business. And if you're still in your first year of business and you're just on the verge of that $10,000 breakthrough, congratulations, because typically it takes a lot longer. Typically to get to $10,000 months, it took me 5 years in the beginning. It took 5 years. Now, learning from somebody who it took 5 years, it means it's not going to take you the 5 years. Plus, at the time that I broke through to my first $10,000 month, there was no social media. I mean, there were no like WordPress websites or build your own kind of like online websites. Okay, we're talking when I did this, I was creating my website in Dreamweaver. There were no um, Fiverr assistants. Okay. Now you can hire people on Fiverr. And I mean, I'm not saying that you're going to hire anybody good for $5, but you get the point. Things are so much easier today. There's so much more information available to you, and there's so many more tools that somebody like me, an OG who started doing this many years ago, you guys have it. I mean, if I could go back and take all the tools and everything that I have now, probably could have done it in much, much less time. But then again, in all fairness, there wasn't as much competition either. I am still an OG, and I am one of the first hypnotists to make a living exclusively doing digital downloads. There were other hypnotists doing it though that went before me, and knowing that, having somebody like Wendy Friesen, who was doing this, Having somebody like the hypnosis downloads who was doing this, having those people go before me, I could see that it was possible. So I'm here to show you and tell you that it's possible. So at this level, though, like you've already seen money come in, you've built momentum, and maybe you flirted with having a little bit of burnout, even trying to get to this point. So the real mindset shift becomes, how do I scale this without losing myself? How do I make this sustainable, repeatable, and enjoyable? This is a level where you start to deeply understand your own energy patterns. You start to notice when you're the most creative. You got to pay attention to that. You notice what drains your energy and what energizes you. You begin designing your business around your natural rhythm instead of forcing yourself to follow somebody else's blueprint. Hey, a lot of people say you got to get up at 5 a.m. and hustle. And for some people, their creative juices actually start flowing at 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And maybe you get your best ideas at midnight. So you got to pay attention to what works for you. Just because one thing works for somebody else doesn't necessarily mean that that is the right thing for you. And it's also where you have to start letting go of guilt around resting and receiving. And trust me, this is definitely an area where I struggled. Even this morning, this last week or two, I admit I have been spending a lot more time in bed in the morning, probably getting out of bed. And it's embarrassing even for me to even suggest that I might be in bed until the late 7 o'clock or early 8 o'clock hour, because I normally do force myself to get up at 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock and meditate. But I've got a lot going on and I'm healing, and I'm going to be doing some more healing. So I'm giving myself that extra rest and allowing myself to receive and letting go of the guilt. But I even told my husband this morning, it's like, I'm not being lazy. I'm just, in a healing mode. And he laughed at me because he knows that I am a hard worker. And you don't have to chase, you don't have to hustle. You can choose now to allow success to feel good. And that means setting boundaries. That means protecting your time. That means creating offers that feel aligned, not just profitable. And you shift from the force into the flow. And your nervous system gets regulated through just being able to hold on to money without sabotaging it. You stop doubting every time you win as a coincidence. You stop trying to prove anything. You begin trusting that abundance is normal for you. Say that. Abundance is normal, that this level of success isn't just about having a lucky month. That's just another thing. It's not just about luck. It is who you are now. Say that. It is who I am now. And that's why I created this session in the Believe app that's specifically called $10,000 months or 10K months, which is designed to help you to lock in the identity and the energy and the subconscious patterns of someone who consistently earns $10,000 a month, not just from getting burnt out and hustling, but from being aligned with that belief and taking the inspired actions from that alignment and that belief. So, this is the phase where you really start to upgrade not just your business, but your lifestyle, your habits, your thoughts, your self concept. And from here, the next level is possible. And so the next level, maybe this is where you start to earn 20,000, might be 15,000, 20,000, 30,000. This is where that next level of really you becoming a leader, and you also detaching from having to micromanage everything because your time is too valuable. You can't do it all. All right. And you shouldn't try to do it all. The mindset shift here is about trusting, trusting that you've created the right systems, trusting that you are creating a team, trusting your audience, trusting yourself. You're stepping into true leadership here. You have to step into being a leader and letting go of control. This is where you really have to stop chasing the results and you start attracting them to your presence. And here's where you need your belief to line up with I can be a leader without having to do it all myself. And if you can get that single belief into your brain, I can lead without having to do it all myself. I don't have to do it all myself. I can attract the right people, the right team. There's so many sessions in the Believe app about leadership, about attracting the right team. This is where you become a visionary. And this step is so important. And this is an elementary step between the 10K months and the 100K months. You've got to step into your role as a leader, and you've got to detach. And you've also got to realize that just because maybe you step back, um, uh, like it's kind of a little bit more of a roller coaster ride here, getting from that 10K. Sometimes, you'll hit 30K, then you'll step back and do 15K. All right, that happens. And then you'll propel from there. But this is where you're just figuring out a little bit more on the systems that work on a larger scale. And this is where it really does require that team. All right. So taking it from that point into 100K months and building a legacy and embodiment. This is one of the single biggest mindset shifts barriers for entrepreneurs, including myself. Getting to 10K, getting to 20K, that already takes a certain level of belief and strategy and alignment. But now scaling that to 100K months, that's a whole new level of self-concept. And this is where so many limiting beliefs can come up because now you're not just asking yourself, can I make more money? You're confronting deeper programming like, am I really allowed to be this wealthy? Ooh, that just that just gives me chills because that is definitely a struggle for a lot of entrepreneurs. What will people think of me when I make $1 million a year? Is it okay for me to make $1 million a year? Is it really safe for me to put myself out there? There's a real stigma, especially for women, around becoming that financially powerful. And that's why this level requires an entirely different identity. It's a whole different identity. You do not get there by doing more of the same that got you to 10K and 20K. And that's the single biggest um, that's the single biggest struggle in the mindset shift that you need in order to get into the 7 figures a year or the 6 figures a month. You're just, you think that, oh, all I have to do is do 10 times more work, make 10 times more products, get 10 times as many clients. No, you can't. It's almost impossible. So you have to change your brain. You have to realize that you're worth more. And it's like shifting into a mindset of like, rather than having to make, $10,000 sales a month, which is $10,000 a month, or make 20, thousand, 20, make $20,000 sales a month. All right. Or however many, $100 sales a month. All right. Now you can shift into, well, what about 40, $25,000 sales a year? That's all it is. That's all it is. But, you've got to align with the people that are, you've got to align with, am I really worth $25,000? One person paying me for my mastermind, my year-long mastermind? Are there really going to be people out there that want to pay me that? And, well, you have to you have to get yourself into a level where you are worth that, where you do deserve that. And so that's the mindset shift. That's the upgrade to your mindset. That's the upgrade to your energy. Um, do you have something of value that people are going to, feel like, they're getting 10 times that amount of value? So that's what you have to shift into. You already have the skills. You already know how to generate income, but that leap to 100K, it's not about creating better funnels. It's not about working 10 times harder. It is about who you are being. And that's why I created the Millionaire Vibes Planner, so that you can begin showing up, thinking, planning, making decisions the way a millionaire would. Because at this level, it's no longer about just checking tasks off a to-do list. It's about designing your days around the highest frequency. It's around holding a new standard of consistency. And I also created a session in the Believe app called Millionaire Vibes Only, which is wonderful. And it's going to help you to operate at this level. You have to retrain your subconscious mind to feel normal at the level that most people think is impossible. It's not about your ego. It's not about proving anything to anyone. It's about creating from a feeling of wholeness, from a feeling of I'm leaving a legacy. What is the legacy that I want to leave? And from a place of truth. And so this mindset becomes, this is just who I am now. This is just who I am now. And there's no need to announce it. There's no need to chase it. You simply embody it. You're not thinking, how do I make more money this month? You're thinking, how do I lead? How does my leadership empower others? So you're no longer trying to empower yourself. You're thinking from how can I be more service? How can I support an even more powerful team? How can I be better for my team, for the world? How can I build a brand? How do I multiply the value that I've already created, not for myself, but for others? And this focus is what shifts, you from the sales to systems that scale. You're solving bigger problems. You're working in your business, and you're solving a problem that is much, much bigger. And so this level requires a deep, energetic container, one that holds boundaries, trust, and peace. Because to receive 100K months, 100K, 200K, 300K, 400K, 500K, and more, you have to feel safe to receive. You have to allow yourself to receive. And you have to feel safe to be seen, because you are going to be seen when you get to that level. You have to be visible. You have to stop chasing the validation. You have to start moving like someone who's already there. You have to understand that the energy that you bring into a client call, a decision, is the strategy. Okay. You're no longer doing success, creating success. You are success. And so then you move into beyond 100K months into universal co-creation. And that's when you're just operating beyond consistent six-figure months. Your mindset becomes definitely more spiritual. You're working with the universe now. You're working to solve, even a higher purpose. You are aligned with your highest version of yourself at this level. You're tuned into super conscious, intuition, timing, resonance. This is about less about planning and more about just you're going where you're called. All right. Your time is leveraged. Your presence is the currency. People just want to be in your energy. You're thinking bigger. You're thinking generational wealth. You're thinking about world class, world changing ideas. Think about anybody who, becomes a multi millionaire or multi billionaire. All right. These people are solving problems that you can't even at the smaller level conceive of right now. And it is this gradual step. Once it's hard to conceive of if you haven't even made the 10,000 or even 1,000, how are you even going to begin to conceive of six-figure, seven-figure months? All right. So you just have to go at, each of these different levels. And, this is where the belief now becomes my life is a reflection of my frequency. And you design everything to match your new frequency from your branding to your offers to your schedule. So let me ask you, where do you believe that you're at right now? Are you thinking like the version of yourself at this level that you're at right now? Or are you staying stuck in an older mindset that no longer fits? Because the mindset is going to precede the success. The success mindset is going to precede the success. So these are the questions that I often revisit in my own journey. And I'm going to tell you, every single time I've leveled up my income, it all started with an identity shift. It's not about the funnel, it's not about the strategy. It is a new way of thinking. So if you want help aligning with your next level, be sure to check out the sessions in my Believe app. That's what it's all about. And I've created dozens of mindset shifts that you can tap into, whether you're starting out scaling to your next income level or whatever it is. There's a session that's created just for you. So, thank you so much for tuning in today to the Power of Your Mind podcast. Thank you for your love and your support. Thank you for just listening to, the story I was sharing earlier about what I have been going through. I'm about to go through it, but I will be on the other end of this soon and before you even listen to this episode. So just reach out if there's anything I can do to help you to get through whatever you're experiencing and tune in next time. I will see you soon. Bye for now.